Hello everyone, welcome to Students Point. So in this video we are going to discuss a very important topic, that is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. In this video we will understand what is Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, why there is sudden need for this campaign, and there are 5 tranches in this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So we will see all the 5 tranches in different parts. This is the first part of this video. In this we will understand how the world and Indian economy is affected by COVID-19 pandemic and the need for this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan and the details about it. In the next part we will discuss the next tranches issued under Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So let's begin. Prime Minister Modi said that 21st century is going to be India's century, but for this to happen India need to be self-reliant, and for this reason Prime Minister Modi has launched this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So why there is sudden need for this steps for making economy and the country self-reliant throughout the world? Why different governments throughout the world has started taking different steps? All because of COVID-19 pandemic and over reliance over China. World has started realizing that they need to be self-reliant and the need to diversify their independence that on other countries including India, many Southeastern Asian countries away from China. So how does this COVID-19 pandemic has impacted the world economy and Indian economy? First we have to understand that, then we will move that why different governments are taking different steps, and particularly we have to discuss Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan, which is initiative taken by India to fight against this COVID-19 pandemic and make India a self-reliant country. So let's understand how the global economy including the Indian economy has been impacted by this COVID-19 pandemic. First, there is low level of production. Why? Because there is lockdown and laborers are not available, as people are not allowed to come at one place or gather at one place. So production has been interrupted, supply chain has been disrupted. This has impacted the production level throughout the world. The next is low level of demands. See, normally what happens during recession or any other economic crisis, what happens is either there is low level of demand or there is low level of supply chain. Let's say there is war in any region of the world. So when there is war, there will be disruption in supply chain, but there will be increase in demand. Suppose there is recession, so during recession there is decrease in demand. So government can easily tackle this situation by infusing extra investments in the economy, by reducing the tax and providing tax benefits to the people so that they may have more amount in their hand to spend. So these are the steps which government takes to tackle different situations. But here the situation is quite unique in this COVID-19 pandemic, because not only production has decreased but also demand has decreased. Why demand has decreased? Because people are jobless and they are forced to live on the bigger amount given by government as support. So they have no income to make expenditure. They are locked down in their homes. So we have seen two impacts. The first one is low level of production. The second one is low level of demand and consumption. Then we have to see decrease in saving deposits. See, since people are jobless, they don't have earnings to spend. So they have started using their savings which they had saved for any future purpose. So now this has been impacting the bank's deposit and reducing the saving deposits in the bank. Now when banks will have less deposits with them, they will also provide less loan to peoples. Thus it will impact investment in the country. Ultimately it is going to decrease the economic activities in the country. Again there is less economic activity, so it is affecting government's physical deficit as well. How? See, when people are jobless, they don't have earning, so they will not spend anything. When they will not spend money, automatically they will not give service tax. They will not consume goods, so on goods indirect tax is imposed. So when they will not consume any goods, indirect tax will not be given to the government. Again, income tax is not given because people have no income. When there will be no income, government can't impose income tax. So this is going to impact the government's revenue collection. Also, at meanwhile, government has to spend much more money than normal circumstances as aid to the people. You must have seen that government has announced at times different expenditure amounts to help people to fight against this lockdown period. So ultimately it is going to impact the physical deficit of the government, as government is not receiving enough revenue collections. At the same time, the expenditure of government is increasing, and that too on non-productive purpose, because the whatever government is spending these times is only going on consumption and not on creation of any assets. If the government was making investments and expenditure on creation of some capitals, then it would have been good. So for these reasons, governments throughout the world is taking steps to fight against such impacts and take their economy out of this sluggish situation. So let's see what government or Indian government has taken particular steps under this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. See, Prime Minister Modi has said that there will be 5 pillars of this Atmanirbhar Bharat. These are economy, infrastructure, system, democracy and demand. I repeat it, in exam they will ask what are the 5 pillars, or they will just miss out one and they will say that which one of the following is not among the 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. So these are economy, infrastructure, system, democracy and demand. So there were key features of this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan. First, let us see what is it. Under this Abhiyan, Government of India provided package of 20 lakh crore. But the point to be noted here is that this 20 lakh crore includes all the earlier relief announcement by Government of India as well as the decisions by RBI to infuse money in the market of India. So there is criticism by economists that how Government of India can include what RBI has announced on its part. Why such criticism? Because see, the responsibility of monetary policy is at the RBI. So whatever announcement RBI has made is part of monetary policy that has to be controlled by RBI. While whatever amount or expenditure incurred by Government of India is part of fiscal policy, and fiscal policy is completely the responsibility of government and not the RBI. So government has no authority to include the money announced under monetary policy as part of fiscal policy, but here government has tried to do so. Government has included the announcements of expenditure made by RBI into its own fiscal policy that was into 20 lakh crore. So there is huge criticism among the economists that this amount is not actually a package, but it is an inclusion and moving away from the economic laws. I said here laws, economic laws. And the Bharat or Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan focuses on land, labor, liquidity and laws. That is 4 L's. So remember 4 L's: land, labor, liquidity and laws. See, it also emphasizes on reforms in field of agriculture, rational tax system, simple and clear laws, capable human resources and a strong financial system. So these are the 4 L's. Here land includes land for agriculture, land for enterprises, industries, labor, they will emphasize on skilling the labor, liquidity in the banking system and laws, liberalizing the laws so that India may take benefits of this situation. See, when the entire world is taking steps to move away their dependency from China, many countries from China, many companies from China are trying to move away from it, and they are looking for new opportunities and new avenues to invest. But in that, Southeastern Asian countries are becoming prominent destinations for all those investments who are trying to move away from China. Though India was a possible destination, but because of lack of infrastructure, lack of skilled manpower, and there are many inspectorate and problems in laws in India, that is why many investors are not very much keen on investing their money into India. So India has to work on these problems so that it may attract all those investors. So in that situation, this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan is going to be helpful, but India needs to be too fast in this situation. as the time is very precious here. So Prime Minister emphasized on self-reliance. See, this self-reliance will prepare country for tough competition in global supply chain. It will ensure quantity with quality. India will emphasize on increasing the quantity of its production as well as quality of its production, because as of now Indian quality and Indian products are not considered to be a qualitative product in the global market. And package will also focus on empowering poor, laborers, migrants and unorganized sector. Importance will be given to local demands and all demands to be met locally. That is why in this regard Government of India has also taken a step that all the canteens of CAPF will now only sell the made in India products. That too a step forward towards consuming the goods produced within the country and not outside the country. Now this also emphasizes on time to be vocal about local and make these products global. So government has announced all the packages in 5 different tranches. In this video we are going to see all the details of first tranches. In the next part we will see the details of second and third tranche, and then we will see the details of fourth and fifth tranche. So this video is very important, that is why it is going to be longer. So let's see. Rupees 3 lakh crore emergency working capital facility for business including micro, small, medium enterprises has been announced in form of term loan at concessional rate. So out of this rupees 3 lakh crore, loans at concessional rates will be given to business, particularly to micro, small and medium enterprises. And this loan will be given to those enterprises who had turnover of up to 100 crore. And there is no need for any guarantee or collateral. In general times, to provide any loan, banks demand collateral, that is some security. But in this rupees 3 lakh under this Atmanirbhar Bharat package, no need for any collateral, and it will benefit 45 lakh MSMEs. The next step is rupees 20,000 crore has been announced as subordinate debt for stressed MSMEs. So it will benefit around 2 lakh MSMEs which are stressed or non-performing assets. They have huge non-performing assets, so it is going to benefit those. And government will also support them with rupees 4,000 crore to credit guarantee trust for micro and small enterprises. And banks are expected to provide the subordinate debt to promoters of such MSMEs equal to 15% of the existing stake in unit, subject to a maximum of 75 lakhs. So banks will provide up to 15% of their stakes in any company, but that 15% should not exceed the 75 lakh amount. Also, rupees 50,000 crore equity infusion has been announced through MSME fund of funds. And government has also changed the definition of MSMEs. This is very important. Everyone has to pay attention here, that government is going to revise the definition of micro, small and medium enterprises. Let's see. The existing definition is those enterprises which are in manufacturing sector, if their investment is less than 25 lakh, then they will be known as micro enterprises. Please pay your attention here that those enterprises who were engaged in manufacturing and not in services, and their investment were below 25 lakh, then they were called as micro enterprises. But now the definition has been changed. Now what is the definition? If a company is engaged in manufacturing as well as in service sector, and it has investment of less than 1 crore and turnover of less than rupees 5 crore, then that company will be called as micro enterprises. So now government is going to take the turnover as a condition for defining this micro, small and medium enterprises. That is the basic difference. And government has also changed the amount. Earlier when the investment was only 25 lakh for manufacturing enterprises, now the investment has been increased to 1 crore. And government has also merged this distinction between this manufacturing enterprises and service enterprises. So now there will be no distinction between these two. The next is a small enterprises. So earlier what happened, those enterprises who were engaged in manufacturing and has investment of less than 5 crore were called as a small enterprises, while those enterprises which has the which were engaged in service enterprises and had investment of less than 2 crore were called as a small enterprises. But now the definition has been changed. Now those enterprises, whether they are engaged in manufacturing or services but have investment of less than rupees 10 crore and turnover of less than rupees 50 crore. Earlier the investment was less than 5 crore for manufacturing and less than 2 crore for services. See, earlier the quantity for service sector was lower, but now it has been made at par with manufacturing. And those enterprises earlier those enterprises who were engaged in manufacturing and has investment of rupees 10 crore or less, then they were called as medium enterprises. While if they had investment of less than 5 crore and they were engaged in service sector, then again they will be called as medium enterprises. But now again the definition has been changed. Now if they have investment of rupees 20 crore and turnover of less than 100 crore, then they are called as medium manufacturing or services enterprises. So I hope you understand the difference here. Everyone should take a screenshot of it and revise it before examinations, because they will definitely ask one question from it. The next step was for MSMEs again, e-market linkage. Government will emphasize on e-market linkage for MSMEs to increase their exports and transportation of goods and services. It will act as replacement for trade fairs and exhibitions. Then there is no global tenders for government tenders up to rupees 200 crore. See, if government is issuing any tenders, then foreign companies cannot participate in that tender, and the limit for it has been set up to 200 crore. So if government is attracting or inviting the enterprises and companies for bidding of any project which has cost of up to rupees 200 crore, then foreign companies cannot participate in that bidding. Only companies from India can participate in such bidding. So this will help to grow micro small enterprises in the country. The next step is Employees Provident Fund support for business and organized workers. See, the scheme has been introduced under the part of Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana under the government of India. So under this scheme, what happened earlier? Government provided contribution of 12% of Employees Provident Fund on behalf of both employer as well as employees. Now this contribution of 12% under this Prime Minister Garib Kalyan Yojana has been extended for 3 months, and that is for June, July, August. So government will now provide 12% of Employees Provident Fund on behalf of both employer as well as employee for 3 more months. These are 3 months. The next step, Employees Provident Fund contribution to be reduced for employers and employees for 3 months again. So those who are not included in this Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana are also going to benefit from it. As for them, government has reduced this EPF contributions to 10%. Earlier this was 12%. The next step is rupees 30,000 crores, a special liquidity scheme for NBFC, that is non-banking financial companies, and HFCs and MFIs, mutual fund institutes. So here NBFCs are those institutions which don't do the core banking business and are not included in any particular business like agriculture, construction. So government will launch rupees 30,000 crore, a special liquidity scheme, and this is being provided by RBI, and investment will be made in primary and secondary market transactions. This will help NBFCs, HFCs and MFIs of India, and this will be 100% guaranteed by Government of India. The next step, rupees 45,000 crore partial credit guarantee scheme for 2.0 for liabilities of NBFCs and MFIs. Again rupees 90,000 crore liquidity injections for DISCOMs, that is power DISCOMs companies or distribution companies. So this 90,000 crore rupees will be infused by Power Finance Corporation and Rural Electrification Corporation. In examination they may ask you about the amount which has been issued to different sectors. So remember that rupees 90,000 crore has been infused for discoms, and this will help this discom companies to get recovery, and this amount will be given in two equal installments. This amount will be used by discoms to pay their dues to power producing companies. The next step was relief to contractors. So all central agencies like Railways, Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Central Public Works Department will give extension of up to 6 months for completion of all the contractual obligations. We have discussed in daily current affairs MCQs about force majeure. So using that clause force majeure, central government has provided relief to all the contractors for 6 months to complete their obligations. The next step was to provide relief to real estate projects. Again, government using force majeure clause had provided relief for up to 6 months to all the real estate projects so that they may complete their project after some months. The next step was providing tax relief to businesses. So all the pending income tax refunds to charitable trusts and non-corporate businesses and professions, including the proprietorship, partnership, LLPs and cooperatives, shall be issued immediately. So tax refund will be given to these institutions so that they may use and they may have liquidity in their hands. And tax related measures included reduction in the rates of tax deduction at source, that is TDS, and tax collection at source, that is TCS. So what is the difference between TDS and TCS? See, both are almost same thing, but in TDS what happens? The salary is given after deducting the total amount of tax which can be imposed at the salary of that employee. So here the tax is already deducted at the source or by the employer, while tax collection at source, what happens in it? Here the employees themselves pay their tax at one source, all the employees. Suppose there is a company and it has 20 employees. So all the 20 employees will not pay their taxes to government. Instead, they will pay their taxes to one source, that is at their employer, and employer will have the responsibility to pay that all cumulative tax to the government. I hope you understand the difference between TCS and TDS. In TDS, tax was deducted in advance by the employer, while in TCS, the salary was given to employees, but employees pay their tax to employer and employer then pay their tax to government. So government has reduced this TDS and TCS, and this has been for all the non-salaried payment to residents, and tax collected at source rate will be reduced by 25% of this specified rate for the remaining period of financial year 21. See, this reduction has been provided only for this financial year, but the same amount of TDS and TCS will be collected from the next year. And the due date for all the income tax returns for assessment year 2020 to 2021 will be extended to 30th of November 2020. So people will now get more time, that is till 30th of November 2020 to file their income tax returns. Similarly, tax audit due date will be extended to 31st of October 2020. And the date for making payment without additional amount under the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme will be extended to 31st of 2020. So government is trying to provide relief to taxpayers by increasing the time for filing their income tax returns and also reducing some rates so that they may have some money to spend in the market, which will in return boost the economic activities in the country. So I hope you find the video useful. Don't forget to share it and like it. Then wait for the upcoming video. Until then, stay at your home, stay safe, and thanks a lot.